What's up, everybody? I'm Marcus.
I'm Ryan.
And together,
we are the Northwest Sports Fanatics.
Today, we're going to go over our NFL preview. The conference is the AFC, and we're going to go up to the AFC North. We're going up top. I'll start it off with the Baltimore Ravens. They went 10-6 last year. They did win the division. Of course, they won the Super Bowl as well. They made some key pickups, safety Matt Elam, inside linebacker Arthur Brown, Elmas Dumerville from the Broncos, and safety Michael Huff. But they also lost the heart and soul of that team. They lost Ray Lewis, Hall of Famer. Ed Reed, of course, Hall of Famer. Paul Kruger was a solid addition there. And also Daniel Ellerbe at the linebacker position. Now offense, to start off the season last year, Flacco said, I'm the best in the game, and everybody laughed at him. His stats is average. He only had 3,800 yards passing, 22 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. But he won a Super Bowl, and he got hot in the playoffs at the right time. He did go 11 touchdowns and no interceptions in the postseason. So can he do that again? It remains to be seen, and we'll find out this year. At running back, they got Ray Rice, the running back from Rutgers. 1,100 yards last year, 9 touchdowns. But he did have a fumble problem, so let's see if he can get that fixed there. He got a solid backup in Bernard Pierce, so they got a nice 1-2 tandem there. At the wideout, they did lose Anquan Bolden. So Torrey Smith, we're going to need you to do better than 49 receptions, 800 yards, and 8 TDs with Bolden gone. Jacoby Jones, it's your time. It's time for you to step up. Are you really going to be that big-time receiver that the Texans thought you was? Now it's your time to show and prove. Also, Dennis Pitta, he's out for the season with the hip injury. So it's all on you, Ed Dixon from
D.O.
Of course, it's on for you to step up. On the O-line, you got Michael Orr. He anchors a real good O-line. They brought back Brian McKinney. So the O-line should be solid again going into next year. Now on the defense side of the ball, again, they lost the heart and soul with Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, Kruger, and Ellerbe. So the youngins is going to have to come in and shine now. Arthur Brown from K-State. Also, they still got Courtney Upshaw from Alabama. As you know, Alabama players are pretty good there.
Yep.
They got Matt Elam at the safety position, who I think is a pretty good safety prospect from the University of Florida. Michael Huff, he was lost in obscurity there in Oakland for a couple of years now. Now you get a chance to go to a winner. Now let's see what you could do up on the big stage. Now they're getting Ladarius Webb back from the ACL injury. He's coming back. Jimmy Smith, of course, he's been labeled as a bust so far this year, the 2011 draft pick at corner. So it's up to you now with Curry Williams going out to Philly. Dumerville, he brings 37.5 sacks, the last 3 years. So he's going to be solid on that D-line to go with Haloi, Nata, and also T-Sizzle. Kellen Ollie's pick for the defense MVP. They need to have big years for them to repeat. For me, I look for a 10-6 year from the Ravens there. Also, Upshaw, I look for him to have a big year, as well as Jacoby Jones to prove that he's that big-time wide receiver. Now, we're going to go over to you, Orion. What you think about the Cleveland Browns up there in the North?
All right, well, Cleveland Browns have been last for how many years now? It seems like forever, and I don't really see them getting that much better, but they have made a few key additions that maybe will let them win maybe a game more, possibly 2 more than they won last year. 2012, you went 5-11. You underachieved. You have Rob Chudzinski, new head coach. You brought him in from Panthers, so maybe that'll give you a little bit of energy and a little motivation there. You fired Pat Shurmur, but one key aspect is you got Norv Turner. Norv Turner got fired, from San Diego. Now you're the offensive coordinator of Cleveland. Will that, change it around and make you win the division immediately? No. But it may eventually get them to maybe be the third place team, in the division at some point. You got Brandon Weeden. I don't think he's that good of a quarterback. You did pick up Jason Campbell, who I think is a better quarterback personally. I think he's more of a game manager, and you can win more games with Jason Campbell. Will he get a chance to start immediately? No. But if Weeden plays bad and starts maybe 1-3, maybe they'll go with Jason Campbell, and maybe he can resurrect the team a little bit. You do have one of the best prospects at running back in the whole entire NFL, and Trent Richardson.
Beast mode.
Beast mode. He got injured. He did play 15 games last season. He had 950 yards, so he just got barely short of 1,000 yards. He didn't have 11 TDs, though. So that's pretty solid for a guy that was injured for a majority of the season. I do like him. If he stays healthy and they want to win a couple more games, 12 to 100 to about 1,400 yards is what I'm expecting from him because he is great. And it's somewhere between 11 and 15 touchdowns. I don't think that's really too much to ask for a player of his caliber. He is obviously one of the best, I think, top maybe 10, 12 running backs in the NFL, especially because he's young. Sure. He's definitely very solid. As far as your wide receiving core, you don't really have anyone. You got Devon Best from Miami. That was a nice little pickup that you got. Greg Little, who is a no-namer, and then you ended up getting Josh Gordon. And you ended up getting him from the supplemental draft, so you don't really know what he's going to give you yet. You got Jordan Cameron from tight end. Who's that? I don't know. I don't think he's that good as well. But your offensive line is decent. You got Joe Thomas, one of the best, obviously, tackles in the NFL. I'd say top 3 left tackle in the NFL. Yep. He's solid. You got Alex Mack at center. You obviously have a few other pieces on the line that you need to draft in the next few years, so we'll see where that goes. But the key point of this team, I think, is the defense. That's one thing that you can count on with Cleveland Browns. They may not have the offense, but that D is solid, especially for a team that's not very good, that only wins 4 or 5 games a year. You got 3-4 defense. You got a few pieces there. Your defensive line isn't very good. You got Desmond Bryant, Philip Taylor, a lot of these no-name players on the line. Will they do anything for you? Probably not. That's something that you're going to have to address in the upcoming years. But you did get Paul Kruger. You stole him away from Baltimore. That's an excellent free agent pickup. Will he play great for them? We'll have to wait and see, but I think that at 5 to 10 sacks wouldn't be too crazy to think that he could produce for you. And then you got a nice draft pick, obviously, from LSU, Bakarvis Mingo. I love Mingo. This guy played DN in college. I think really big things from him from LSU. He's very solid, so I would expect him and Kruger to work together. Kruger might mentor him a little bit, show him the ropes, so expect big things from him. As far as we go into the secondary, you got Joe Hayden. I think one of the most underrated corners in the league. I like him a lot. Very solid. You got Leon McFadden. You got him in the draft. 3rd round, I think he may be pretty solid for you from San Diego State. And then, obviously, at safety position, you need some depth there. But you do have T.J. Ward from the and he's pretty solid. Is he the best defender at safety? No. But can he hit you and knock your lights out? Yeah, he can. So expect a couple big, obviously, hits, obviously, when we move forward in the season. But I predict, 5-11 last year. I think with Norv Turner there, you'll get 1 additional win, especially if Trent Richardson plays well. So I go 6-10 as my prediction for Cleveland. What do you think about the Pittsburgh Steelers going into 2013?
Pittsburgh Steelers, black and yellow. All right, they went 8-8 last year. They made some nice additions in the draft. Jarvis Jones, outside linebacker from Georgia. Le'Veon Bell, running back from Michigan State. They pick up Marcus Wheaton from Oregon State out here, and also safety Shamarko Thomas. They did lose, their big play wide receiver in Mike Wallace. Their other outside linebacker James Harrison, who's been beasting for them for years, and also Rashard Mendenhall. The key with the Pittsburgh Steelers is going to be Ben Roethlisberger. He was injured last year, so he's fighting the injury bug. To me, he had a mediocre year, but his stats look pretty decent. 26 touchdowns, 8 picks. That's pretty good.
Yep.
But the injuries would kind of made me say, he didn't do all that well this year.
Yep.
But this year, Le'Veon Bell, he's going to give them that playmaker at running back. With Mike Wallace gone, look for Antonio Brown to live up to that huge contract they got. They paid, it's either Mike Wallace or Brown, and they chose Brown. So now you got to live up to that hype. Emmanuel Sanders and the rookie speedster Marcus Wheaton. One of them has to step up. With Heath Miller, he tore the ACL last year, so he's still recovering. Look for David Paulson from
the O,
of course. He has to step up now and prove that he's going to be a legit NFL tight end. Also, under investigation is their offensive line. They kind of suspect there.
Yep.
You got Mike Adams, the big draft pick out of Ohio State. He had the stabbing in the offseason, But you gave up 7 sacks in 6 games. Yeah, that's one a game, bro. You got to do better than that. The only bright spot on their O-line is Marquise Pouncey, Pro Bowler. Also, DeCastro from Stanford at guard. Look for them to step up here on defense. Harrison is gone. Jarvis Jones, to me, he's going to be one of the rookie of the year candidates coming up here in this year's draft.
Absolutely.
He's going to be opposite of Lamar Woodley. So you still got a good, solid outside linebacker tandem, which Green Bay has always been known for. The Green and Greg Lloyd. They always had them outside linebackers there. You got Cortez Allen, which is a name I want y'all to get used to. He's an up-and-coming star at the cornerback position. This is his second year. You still got the OG Ike Taylor out there. He's pretty solid. He had a good year last year, even though he's getting old. Now, the question mark is Troy Polamalu. Is he healthy or is he not healthy? When he's healthy, he is one of the top safeties in the league. But you only played 22 games out of the last 4 years. Well, you've missed 22 games out of the last 4 years. That's a whole lot of games to be missing there. He's still solid with Ryan Clark, the veteran there. And they got Shamarko Thomas, a nice safety out of Syracuse in the waiting. Casey Hampton, the nose tackle there, the anchor on that line is gone. So Ziggy Hood, what you going to do? The time is now. It's up to you. On paper, I don't really see too much talent. So I'm going to go 8-8 for them. Look for Jarvis Jones to have a big year as well as Le'Veon Bell. Now, we're going to go out to Cincinnati with the Bengals. What you think about the Bengals, Orion?
I like the Bengals. This is one of my favorite teams, I think, in the AFC. I think you got a lot of depth. You've drafted the most Pro Bowlers, in the last few years. So Marvin Lewis, he's kept his job. I do like them. You went 10-6 last year, wild card. It didn't really pan out, the way that they wanted to with Andy Dalton, but I do like his progression. So you do have some really nice pieces. Marvin Lewis has really done his homework. I really like him as a head coach. You got Andy Dalton at QB. That's your franchise for the next 10 years. You end up getting obviously a nice solid wide receiver in AJ Green. And most people's eyes, that's a top 5 wide receiver in the whole entire league.
Oh, yeah.
So I really like him. He's got really good hands, good speed. You throw that fade route, no one's going to get him on that. So I like that. And then obviously you have Ben Jarvis Green Ellis from the Patriots. You had him for the last couple years. But you have made some new draft picks. Obviously this year you ended up getting Giovanni Bernard from USC or North Carolina, UNC. He's kind of a speedster back. Yeah. So a little bit different. You have the kind of ground and pound with Ben Jarvis Green Ellis, and then you got the speedster, obviously with Bernard, so I like that. You end up getting Rex Burkhead from Nebraska later on the draft, which I think is a steal.
Nice.
He might be able to get you some nice key moments, as we move forward. As far as wide receivers concerned, you got Mohamed Sanu, obviously from Rutgers, Greg Schiano, he did his homework there. Obviously developed him, Marvin Jones. So you got a few pieces there. Jermaine Gresham at tight end, probably a top 12 tight end in the league. Sometimes good, sometimes bad, but overall pretty consistent. I do like him. You drafted Tyler Eifert from Stanford, very tall wide receiver. It sounds like they're going to do the double tight end set like the Patriots had to give him some extra weapons for obviously Andy Dalton, because he does struggle a little bit when they get into the red zone. So look for him to get a lot of touches. As far as their line is concerned, you got Andrew Whitworth, pretty good, but the best player on their line, hands down, is Andre Smith. People call him fat, they call him chubby, and then he proved people wrong. He is from Bama.
That's what I was about to ask you.
Alabama is where he's from, so he lost the weight, but look for him to have a really big year. Took him a while to get everything settled with the contract, but look for him to obviously have a good up-and-coming season in 2013. But the best part about this team is the defense. Defense. You're running a 4-3. You got Carlos Dunlap. You got Pecco at D tackle. I like both of those players. Geno Adkins, probably arguably the best D tackle besides Ndamukong Suh and maybe Gerald McCoy and the whole entire league. So I love him. You got Michael Johnson over there on the other side as well. Very solid group up front. And then you end up having Vontaze Burfict. He had some issues last year in the draft. They said this guy's a head case. He can't play. But obviously under Marvin Lewis, he's learned to kind of tone it down and play under control. I like him as well. You got Ray Maualuga from USC. Nice leader in the middle. But the key piece that they stole away from their rival, Pittsburgh, James Harrison. How do you let James Harrison go to your rival? The only thing worse would have been him going to Baltimore. But he's going to Cincinnati. He's going to bring them some toughness, maybe a little dirty play, but he's always going to bring it 110%, and I can respect that. So look out for him to make some big plays, especially circle your calendar when they play Pittsburgh. Cincinnati-Pittsburgh twice this year. That's going to be huge because he has something to prove. that, he is one of the best still linebackers, obviously, in the league. Corners concerned, you got a lot of them there. I do like their cornerbacks. You got Leon Hall, Drake Kirkpatrick from Bama, but he was hurt. Look for him to maybe play a little bit better. You got Terrence Newman from the Cowboys. He's older, but he's still average. He's a nice, solid pick. And then Pac-Man, Mr. Pac-Man Jones, you still got him. And
he's out of trouble.
Right, he does get in trouble a little bit, but under Marvin Lewis, he has learned to keep it under control. Reggie Nelson at safety, and then obviously you drafted a strong safety in Sean Williams, so we'll see where he goes. He's from Georgia.
Yep.
Probably one of the schools that drafts the best. If you look at Georgia players, besides Alabama, probably the school that develops the players the best. Matthew Stafford, you got Geno Atkins, and a lot of these other players.
AJ.
So AJ Green. So look for some of these guys to really develop. I do predict them to win the division. One more win than last year, 11-5, and I expect them to do big things as we move forward in the AFC.
All right, there y'all have it. That's our AFC North predictions here. They're our preview. You can follow me on Twitter, MarcusHill_NWSF.
And Orion_NWSF.
Hit us up on Facebook.com/NW Sports Fanatics.
And we want to shout out our sponsors. We really appreciate all the love and support that we're getting.
All right, shout out to my man Banner Bob for the banner in the back. You can hit him up at signshack.net. Also on Instagram at NW Sports Fanatics. I'm Marcus. This is Orion.
And together we are Northwest Sports Fanatics.